I know you all have seen some of my promos where I say you can get an HD sound out of one of these little cheap little interfaces. That is absolutely true. But do interfaces matter? Absolutely. And I'm going to break down the differences. You have this little Focusrite Solo. I have my Apollo first gen, which is the gray one, and I have the Apollo second gen, which is the black one. Are they different? Absolutely. What makes them different? What makes the difference is the converters that are in the actual Apollo. See how the signal path goes is I give a signal to the microphone via my voice. It travels through the mic, through these, little cords, through the interface, through the computer, and then it goes in reverse to give you a sound. So you have input and output. You know what I mean? So these converters, the ability to keep that signal path as pure and as good as possible makes the difference between makes the difference between these interfaces. So the better converters, the better the interface. Now, is price indicative of the quality? I would say not all the time because you do have some more expensive interfaces, and the only thing they have to offer is more inputs. So you might have 16 inputs, but that's for people who need to do more simultaneous recording versus trying to keep the signal path. Now with me, I don't need as many inputs as I have on the quads because I'm not recording the band. This thing has about 8 to 16 inputs. I don't really need to record that many simultaneous recordings, but so maybe a small one would have done just as a 2 and 6. Well, I just needed two mic inputs, or either one dope interface that just had one really clean input with a great converter. So we have to look at that. So, but the thing is, I like starting on these little cheap interfaces because they teach you technique and learning how to mix. Because even though this might not sound like this, why do I still use this? I still use this because it helps me brush up on my technique. Because when I record with this, I could literally almost do any small amount of mixing and it'll sound good. With this, I have to work a little harder. So I'm always trying to perfect my sounds because there's a lot of times where I just take this on the road or I'll take this on a plane somewhere and I can't take this or I don't feel like putting this in my bag and checking my bag and having this bigger equipment with me. So this is the perfect solution for when I just want to just run and gun and record. And I've put records on the radio with this, and I've cut a lot of demos. I cut majority of my first album, the Fedarro experience, on this thing. So what I say is, if you can't afford something more expensive, I would still wait, still try to get something cheaper so you can understand your mixing process and your recording process, and then upgrade to something bigger. I got this at a pawn shop on a really good deal. It was a steal. These audio interfaces stay in one spot for the duration for most of their lives in any studio. So buying them used is not a problem. So that's the difference between interfaces. Remember, it's the converters that makes